Connacht have announced their team, and it is 15 John Porch, 14 Alex Wooten, 13 Sammy Arnold, 12 Tom Daly, 11 Matt Healy, 10 Jack Carty, 9 Kieran Marmion, 1 Dennis Buckley, 2 Dave Heffernan, 3 Finlay Beelum, 4 Owen Masterson, 5 Ulton Delan, 6 Sean Masterson, 7 Jared Butler, who's the captain, and 8 Paul Boyle. On the replacements bench, 16 Shane Della Hunt, 17 Jordan Duggan, 18 Jack Ainger, 19 Cian Prendergast, 20 Connor Oliver, 21 Caelan Blade, 22 Bundy Aki, 23 Tiernan O'Halloran. So that's the team to take on Racing 92, and I'm delighted to say, after it was announced, Connacht head coach Andy Friend joined me to discuss it for the Craggy Rugby podcast.
Andy, Europe has sort of arrived almost from nowhere. Everybody's been going week to week. There's usually a lot of hype for these games, but they've almost snuck up on us. So are you ready for this daunting trip to Paris on Sunday?
We are ready, William. We're ready, we're excited, and can't wait to get there, to be honest with you.
So you're flying over tomorrow. Are you disappointed that you couldn't do the captain's run at the stadium? Because it's an indoor arena, artificial pitch. It's compared to the sports ground last Friday night against Benetton, you could not be any more different.
No, you did right. We actually trained yesterday. If you can cast your mind back to yesterday afternoon, Thursday afternoon in Galway, it was a feral afternoon.
And it certainly was.
We said to each other, this is the exact opposite of what we're going to get on Sunday night. But listen, let's go and have a go. So we actually trained very, very well. I was pleased with the way the boys dealt with the conditions, as they tend to always. So it is going to be very, very different. And it's, the captain's run would have been great. What we have been able to access, though, is, so we'll go to another field. Unfortunately, it's not an artificial field either. And that's just the way things are at the moment. But on the morning of the game, on the Sunday morning, we do have an opportunity to go there and to go through our units. We have a little spark-up game normally on the morning of the game. So we'll get there at 10:30, which will just allow the players to soak up the stadium, because there's a lot spoken about that. To put all that emotion to bed, then, and we head back to the hotel. We'll have our pre-match meal, and then the last little preparations before we turn up around about 3:15, which will be 2:15 Irish time, normally an hour before kickoff, and take on Racing 92 on Sunday at 4:15, which will be a great opportunity for us as Connacht.
They're a daunting proposition, finalists 2 of the last 3 years. They've almost got more players than they probably know what to do with. So let's, you've picked an interesting side here today. You've had to bring in some of the Irish players coming back, but the back line has a very, very fixed look to it. Kieran Marmion's coming in scrum half, Jack Carty, Tom Daly in the centre, Alex Wooten, John Porch. And then the forwards, maybe a little bit of surprise, I suppose. Sean Masterson getting a start, Owen Masterson covering second row again, but strong front row. How have you dealt with bringing back in the players who have been on Irish international duty?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. They've been great. And we had lengthy discussions as a coaching group, because we have been really happy with the way others have been playing with the Irish boys out. But at the end of the day, you must respect, and I believe this truly, you must respect the fact that the reason players haven't been here is because they're away representing their country. And unless there's an injury, I believe they deserve the right to walk back in. So, our frustrating one there, people will see that is Bundy coming off the bench. And for Bundy, it is a tough one, but he hasn't been able to train with us all week. So I acknowledge that he's been away with Irish camp. He just hasn't been able to train. So I also want to respect the work that both Tom Daly and Sammy Arnold have been doing in Bundy's absence, and Tom Farrell's absence, and Pete Robb's absence. And that, if Bundy were fit, yes, we would be starting him, but he hasn't been able to train, so we'll bring him off the bench. So anyway, those conversations have been had. It is a reasonably settled team, as you suggest, with those inclusions coming in. And I know the boys are really, really keen to put out a performance which hopefully is enough to knock off Racing.
You've also had to deal with an issue very much sentient to the times that we live in, which is COVID, positive test within the camp, and then that player, I suppose, self-isolating along with close contacts. How do you deal with that? And is there a little disappointment that it has happened for Connacht, having been clear for so long?
Yeah, listen, it's inevitable, unfortunately. I am disappointed. I'm disappointed for the players, the player who has unfortunately got it, and I'm disappointed for the three close contacts, because again, through no fault of their own, the majority there, they've been ruled out. So it's tough, but that's the times that we're currently living in. I suppose if there's a plus to it, we got full clearance this morning. The rest of the squad and staff, 92 tests came back, all negative. So that's a compliment to the way we've actually been conducting ourselves at the sports ground, that we've been able to minimise the impact of that positive case down to only 3 people. So, everyone's to be commended on that. I said, I am disappointed though for those individuals, and it's a frustrating one because we're probably walking into the biggest game of our season to date, and we've got some pretty, we've got 3 or 4 players who can't be involved in it.
It's the biggest game of the season, but it's a 7-week sort of. It looks daunting, and I don't have to play in it, but it's just the fact that you've got Bristol coming with a certain bit of baggage with that game, and then you've got 3 unbeaten Irish teams. But there must be a certain amount of excitement because it is different, Europe, and it's a challenge, and players want to challenge themselves. And I suppose as long as they give 100% of what they're doing, they feel they've given themselves the best opportunity to win these type of games.
Yeah, and I think that's it, William. Every person that gets to this level, they get there because they're highly competitive. And when you're highly competitive, you want to pitch yourself against the top. And in Racing 92, we got a lot of players there that you could suggest that if they're not the top, they're very damn close to it. So, and as a rugby team and as a rugby, the rugby product and as a squad, they're right up there, as you said, at the front end there. 2 out of the last 3 finalists, there's quality all across the park. So for every player and for us as a coaching group, it's a great opportunity to go and test ourselves and see where we are. Our big challenge is to make sure we maintain the belief that we deserve to be here and that we're here to try and win the game of football. We're not here just to turn up and see how we go against Racing. We're here to win the game of football. And we've been talking about that from the front end of the week. Do we believe we can beat Racing? Yes, we do. Good. Hold on to that thought. Let's go and see how we go. Let's go and do it.
If that starts to unravel during the game, and it becomes a very difficult game, what are you looking for then? What do you want from your leaders? Because this side can take sides apart, and you can actually, it struck me having watched a bit of them, you could play really well and still come out very much the wrong side of it. And it's, on the field is going to be so key. You can discuss it and plan it, but when it's actually happening, it can happen very quickly.
Yeah, and I reckon that's the key. At the end of the game, I want to be able to stand there in front of the players and say, I know you couldn't have given any more. And if that's a win, if it's a draw, it's a loss, whatever it is, if we can sit there and look each other in the eye and say, we couldn't have done any more, well, you can't ask for any more than that. So the biggest challenge, I reckon, for us is to stay on task for 80 minutes, to keep up the things that we talk about constantly has been really important to us as members of the Connacht Rugby program. Number one, we work harder than the opposition. So don't give up. Just keep bouncing. Just keep setting early. Just keep loosening. Keep communicating with players either side of you, getting your bounce. So that's the first thing. Number two is exactly that, the conversations. Make sure we don't stop talking. So make sure we continue to reward the good things that are happening, that we continue to talk to each other about what you want from the bloke inside and outside of you. And then number three is make sure, again, you've done your homework, which players have done. You know what your role is, and just go out there and execute to the best of your ability. And if you make an error, which you will, let it go, because there's another X amount of minutes left to then get on to the next thing you're going to do. So if we can see that with him at the end of the game, I'll be really, really proud of him.
What's the key thing with this side that you've selected? What do you need from them to stay in this game and to make the right decisions during the game so that they're still relevant in it?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's not to be overawed by the names on the team sheet, and it would be easy to have that happen. But we've identified that right at the front of the week. At the end of the day, it's 15 blokes, wearing a Racing jersey. So don't worry about the blokes who are wearing it in terms of the names they've got. Just know that there's 15 bodies in front. When we don't have the footy, we've got to attack that. If you give these men time and space, they will be very, very good. If you shut down that time and space and put them under pressure, like any other footballer, they're going to struggle with that. So we want to make sure that we don't get overawed by the names, and that we actually attack them when we don't have the ball. When we've got the ball, again, don't get overawed by the occasion. Play to what's actually been working for us over the last 5 and 6 weeks, which is playing in the right areas, trust in our set piece, which has been strong, trust in our opportunities and saving fuel, that when we get into the last 15, 20, 30 metres, 40 metres of their try line, we've got enough fuel there to unleash our attack and to hopefully pick up points. So, we've been talking about that through the course of the week. We trained very well with that yesterday, and given that the conditions won't be a factor for us on Sunday, hopefully the boys can park that. That won't be an issue in their minds, and they can just go out there and play.